This is on my list of threats. So one is just data loss, like your phone gets wiped or stolen or dropped in the rain or whatever, and it's dead and you've lost your favourite photos. Something. So that's one data security thing. Someone reading the data from your phone who you don't want to is another one. That might be the police, or it might be just your kids, or I don't know. There's various possibilities there, but there's also location tracking between GPS and mobile phone networks, and your Wi-Fi, talking to Wi-Fi networks as it goes past. There's various ways to track you via your phone. Also the apps. The apps on your phone may well have, particularly on Android, where it's like install it, all these permissions, all or nothing. The app can just read all your contacts and copy them online and take them from you, which you may well not want, and there may be other things they can read. There's browser privacy, which is not, which also applies to laptops and desktops and everything else, but it also does apply to phones. So there's one is eavesdropping on open Wi-Fi networks, or on the rest of the internet. If you have someone like the person who's running the router can also eavesdrop on you. The NSA and GCHQ we know are eavesdropping on you. So there's various ways to try and mitigate that. And then the website you're actually talking to, they may be tracking you by having like adverts that talk to a central server that tracks you across a lot of where you go on the internet. And finally, there's messaging privacy. So I've looked into various things. I know bits and pieces. I don't claim to be the world expert on all this, but there's some tools I can tell you about which can help sort of mitigate these things, and there's probably some other ones that you don't know, which so we can shout out when we get there. So, no, not that one. Data loss. This was in the computer room when I was at university. There are two golden rules of computing. Number one, always make a backup. Number two, always follow rule number one. So, the tools that can help you with this, the two that I've used on an Android phone, I should say this is basically, I've only used Android, so that's what I know. If you use BlackBerry or iPhone, there's some of these things which might be relevant, but it's probably less relevant. And if you just use an old Nokia phone, you probably don't have to worry about much, so you're fine. So Titanium Backup is one that needs root privileges, so you need to root your phone, which I'll talk about a little bit more in a bit, and that means it can back up every last little thing on your phone. It can, all the sort of private data. So that's really powerful. There's also My Backup Pro, which is one that's been around for a long time, that does backing up, if you like, your contacts, your text messages and all that kind of data, but doesn't quite get to sort of everything that the Android stops against some things if you haven't rooted your phone. So there's probably some other ones out there, but they're the two that I'm familiar with, and they're pretty good. Sorry. Moving along. If someone's got your phone, they can probably read data off it. So the biggest one to stop them is encrypt your phone. Android has that built in. It does mean that if you do that, you have to have a passphrase on your phone. You can't just have it as sort of pattern unlock. It means you have to at least a PIN number to unlock your phone every time. And you also want a decent password for encrypting that. Also, I should encourage you, if there's anything you're not understanding and you want me to slow down or explain something, then shout or wave your hand or something.
What about just taking the memory card out?
If the data's on the memory card, then that will be the lesson there, but there's also some memory built into your phone, which you can't remove without destroying the phone, basically. So, unless you are really sure that the particular data you're concerned about is definitely on the memory card and definitely not on the internal storage.
Well, the things I say, I know where I say them, but the things apps say, I don't know where they say.
Yeah, and when I've got a Nexus 4, that has no SD card. It's all internal storage. So, encrypting your data, so yeah, that is one way of doing it. If there's some particular data that you know is stored on your SD card, you can remove that before going somewhere where you're concerned about losing it. But encrypting your data means that it's always sort of secure. You also need a lock screen as well. It does, yeah. So it depends what threat you're more worried about. If your panacea is that you never lose any data, then not encrypting your phone will be better. If your panacea is that no one can get access to your data, and if you lose it, you'll live, then you can go the other way. And you can do backups and encrypting. It's all possible, but it's balancing the things. Also, for those of you who are a bit more advanced and do use USB debugging, if you leave that turned on and someone gets your phone while it's turned on, they can read everything on your phone. So,
What is USB debugging?
good question. So on Android, it's a kind of hidden option. So you have to know how to find it and turn developer options on. But it's useful for if you are rebooting your phone, or it can make sort of backups easier. There's sort of tools which can get sort of more data on and off through the Android debugging interface. But if you leave it turned on, then anyone who plugs your turned on phone into their USB port can basically get all your data off your phone, even if it's encrypted. So it's useful for you when you use it. I use it sometimes, but I turn it on when I use it, and then when I'm finished, I turn it off again. So if you come across it while you're rebooting your phone, if you choose to do that today or some other day, and it's like, oh, this is handy, this is good, be aware that if someone else gets hold of your phone and you've got USB debugging turned on, they can just get everything without they don't have to like unlock the phone through the lock screen. And then there are also tools which can do remote wiping. I don't know that much about them, but I know they exist. So the idea with a remote wipe is that if you've lost your phone completely, but it's still turned on, you can access it through the network and tell it to just delete everything.
But if you could do that, assuming someone else could, theoretically.
Theoretically, yeah. So if you have really good passwords and all of that, and you're very confident that the service you're using is reliable and trustworthy, it again depends, like sort of, do you have good backups? Are you more worried about someone getting hold of your data when they shouldn't, or are you more worried about you always being able to keep a copy of your data? But this and the backup to somewhere else means you do both. But it's more work to set up, but yeah. There are trade-offs with security, as always.
I think there's also a system called Crave. Have you come across Crave? I think it's on Android now, but that basically allows you, it's a bit like remote wiping, but it allows you to connect to your phone. As soon as it's switched on and connected to the internet, then you can actually get it to take pictures or see what's coming out of the video camera of your phone as well. So,
Okay.
but it's something that you put on there in order to be able to track down, and it also tells you what networks are located around the phone to allow you to try and trace where it is if you lost the phone or it gets stolen.
So is that P-R-E-Y or P-R?
P-R-E-Y.
P-R-E-Y.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't used it on a phone, but I've got on you can sync on your laptop as well if your laptop is linked, yeah.
Cool. So next one, location tracking. So the apps, lots of apps ask for your location. Facebook will ask for it, Twitter will ask for it, all sorts of random apps you don't expect to ask for your location. If you look at the permissions they ask for, location's in there. So there's something called Privacy Guard in Facebook. And it's somewhere hidden away in Android, and there are ways to get to it. And I think in Android 5 they maybe made it a bit easier again. But it is quite easy in, and that sort of gives permission. So you can say, this app, even though it's installed, and when I installed it, I said, yes, can I have my location? Actually, don't give it my location. And so Privacy Guard is a really powerful thing. It can also stop the apps getting to your contacts, or reading and writing data from your phone, and all that kind of thing.
Will those apps just automatically allow Facebook to know your location?
If you don't have Privacy Guard, and when you've installed it, it said it needs access to your location, during the thing that most people probably don't read, with the permissions it needs, then it can get your location any time otherwise, and send it off to the internet.
I don't know if it's the same, but on BlackBerry, if you say no to one of those sort of questions, most of the apps will work at all.
In my experience, some of them complain a bit, but mostly they've been all right. But yeah, it's a risk, but yeah, generally, I'd rather, I really care about that, so I end up uninstalling the apps that don't work if they're having the things. But the ones a lot of the general ones do work okay.
So the next version of Android has more granular permissions, so you can just turn off individual ones. They brought back, but they killed away, but now it's coming back as an official thing. So app developers will have a support end. Otherwise, like it's not like, oh, your document which doesn't work, but like this mainstream thing that will ask you support from working. So I think that's going to get better over the next few years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that got just announced like bad. So now like I think it'll ask you for permission the first time you use that particular feature. So if it is asking you for like access to your contacts, for example, when it first tries to access your contacts, like the system will ask you if you want the application access your contacts. And you can say no, and the application will be able to respond. So that's the new guidelines that they just brought out like a little bit ago. So hopefully more apps will support that and not crash just because you don't want to give them everything.
Good, thanks for that. So yeah, CyanogenMod is an alternative build of Android. It is quite involved getting it on, although there's a Windows app which I believe makes it a bit easier, but I haven't actually used it. It's basically, you pretty much have to back up your data, wipe your phone, put this new version of Android on, and then put your data back on, and hope you haven't lost anything important in the process. So it's a bit involved, and
I used the Windows thing and it was easy.
sorry?
I used the Windows thing and it was easy.
Excellent. So maybe
The
that's...
CyanogenMod, the Peregrine Android, it's not quite out yet, it's still in use, so I can finally do it.
Sorry?
The CyanogenMod for the Peregrine operating Android version, it's still in use, but I'm not to be able to do this.
Right.
Or get an Ubuntu code.
That's another option. But yeah, CyanogenMod will pretty much works like Android, apart from it gives you this privacy guard option, and there's a few other things built into it which are nice, but for me the key one was an easy access to the privacy guard features. So yeah, that's quite an involved one, so at the end, if people, once I've finished talking, if you want to sort of do that, then we'll try and pair people up. Also, I should say, all these notes I put on GitHub online. So at the end, I put the URL up, and you can find all these names by looking through my notes. So, yes, I should have mentioned that earlier. So you don't need to write things down, you can get it out at the end. So the other way of tracking your location, so when you're walking around, your phone's talking to both the mobile phone network. You can't do much about that without turning your phone off or putting it to airplane mode, because if you want to have if you want to be able to have to make phone calls and send text messages, the mobile network knows where you are. But there's also, normally your Wi-Fi is on, it's constantly looking for open Wi-Fi networks or known Wi-Fi networks. It gives away a unique identifier called the MAC address when it does that.
Even to work networks, it doesn't know.
Yeah, because they just say hello and check if it's open or if it needs thing. And in that initial just saying hello, the unique identifier is broadcast. So there are like networks built into bins in London that track the Wi-Fi, the MAC addresses that go around, so they can track you that way, even if you haven't got an app installed on your phone. So you can manually just turn the Wi-Fi off, but there's also an app I use called Smarter Wi-Fi Manager, which it basically it remembers your location from the mobile network or GPS and will only turn the Wi-Fi on when you're in a known location. So that means you're not being tracked the rest of the time. So that's a handy little, that's just a plain app you can store and it's fine.
Better for your battery though if you turn it off.
It doesn't hurt for that, but yeah.
X-privacy, the location, you can spoof your location.
X-privacy.
You have to put exposed framework on, which opens up different security, has security implications. But X-privacy is for everything you can control, every permission, really, to fine granulation. Like, I've not tried using it, but you can pay for it, and then there's default setups for everything that the community decides on, which you get if you pay for it. If you the free version, you have to specify where the application what you want it to have access to or not. You can spoof a lot of stuff, including your location.
Okay, so that's good for the apps, but it doesn't stop the external people listening to your Wi-Fi connecting.
I guess I don't know if it does anything with...
No, I mean, it's... Yeah, what you're saying, when the app asks for location information, it gives it pointer.
Yeah.
But that's different to your phone just talking to a Wi-Fi router. So yeah, it depends whether you're about the apps or external people tracking you.
I was just looking at Privacy Guard is doing similar thing to Privacy Guard.
Yeah, so rather than just saying I'm not giving location, it's giving a fake location. Yeah. That's good to know, thanks.
You can also use existing apps. You can set up, for example, when I leave my house, my Wi-Fi turns off, and when I go back to my house, it turns back on again.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's something called Tasker as well, which can also do complicated things. So, yeah, there's a few options there. So, I've already mentioned this, but just to sort of explicitly pull it out again. The apps on your phone, if they ask permission, by default can sort of just read all of your contacts and send them off online. I mean, some of them will do it to like find your friends, to like Twitter and Facebook will say, Twitter and Facebook would actually ask in a dialogue first, and probably they don't do it without if you say no, but there's nothing stopping, without using Privacy Guard or something like it, there's nothing stopping it doing that. And there's various other things, it could be reading files off to the file system and various other things without your knowledge. So, again, Privacy Guard is your friend for that.
Privacy Guard? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So browser privacy, this is something which also applies to you on your laptop or your desktop. Eavesdropping on Wi-Fi, I've got open Wi-Fi, so if it's unencrypted, like a lot of hotel Wi-Fi, then anyone else in the building within range of the Wi-Fi router can listen to your packets, can get your session ID, and any website that's not using HTTPS, which is a secure version of HTTP, they could then just log in as you to whatever you're logged in as. It's amazingly easy. It also, even without open Wi-Fi, someone's encrypted. If someone is running the router, they can also listen in at that point as well. So they can also insert things in. There's various places where people have been found routers insert adverts into the page, which weren't in the original web page when it left the server, but at the router, they just added a little bit of stuff to make an advert appear in your browser. And they could also change any other information they want. So generally using the site using HTTPS is good. That's becoming more common. Wikipedia changed over to HTTPS recently. Like that's by default. That's how you view Wikipedia now. And is that the only way they do it now?
It is not.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And lots of other sites are moving towards it. HTTP2, which will take quite a while to come out, but that only allows for secure connections. So that's improving, but in the meantime, a lot of places offer both with and without HTTPS. There's a browser plugin by the Electronic Frontier Foundation called HTTPS Everywhere that it's got a sort of database of sites that offer both. If you're going to one that offers both, it will automatically make your browser go to the HTTPS version. Otherwise, if you just type it into the address bar, it will by default take you to the non-secure version. You can also use a virtual private network, or VPN, to get past it. There are various free ones, or ones that sort of are free or you can pay for. Some of the ones which are only free might be run by someone who's being malicious, who's then looking at your code when it gets to their end, or tracking you at that point. So, if you just find a random one free on the internet, I'm not sure I trust them, but if you, like there's one called, a company called Tunnel Bear who are, for most purposes, are reasonably reliable. If you're really worried about it from an activist point of view, as a commercial company, they'll still comply with warrants. So the best protection for that kind of thing is Tor, which is the Onion router, which is software that will it sends it through multiple layers of encryption through multiple servers on the internet, and that's about the best out there. There's also Tails, which is sort of boot off a USB disk to it, really not good, but that's not relevant to phones.
Presumably doing the level of
big issue.
Oh, this is you can answer.
It uses AES, which can be done in hardware, so it's actually not very processor intensive.
Yeah, the encryption is fast. So yeah, it's not a big deal. It has a speed or battery life. Have the encryption running. So then there's websites tracking you. There's various privacy settings in the browser. Firefox introduced one recently, which is tucked away, but has a sort of blacklist of known advertising networks that it will just not honour the cookies for, which are the cookies are the way they track you. There's a few browser plugins, and there's one called Disconnect and Ghostery, which will do that. And we do that again. If they're just tracking you by IP address, then a VPN or a Tor will help with that, but it won't help with cookies. That's a sort of separate way of tracking you. And there's also the browser private mode or incognito mode, which Chrome and Firefox both have. They will sort of just ignore all the cookies between sessions, so that's another way to sort of reduce how much you can be tracked.
But the cookies are still there within a session, so if you visit multiple websites within a session, you could be tracked website to website, that sort of thing.
So can you say that a bit louder? So.
If they're still using cookies within a session, it just means when you quit the browser, the cookies are all gone for next time. Therefore, within a session, if you visit multiple websites, you could be tracked website to website.
Yeah, yeah. None of these things are silver bullet or panacea, but they're sort of reducing the risk rather than eliminating it. And that goes for almost everything I'm talking about. Encryption, if you've got a short encryption password, they might be able to crack it, or they might be able to find some other way to get to you if they really want to target you. So ultimately, if it's in electronic form and it's going through the internet, it's not entirely safe. So if you're really, really concerned about that, don't put it on the internet. Don't put it on your phone. So, yeah. Finally, messaging privacy. I haven't looked into this a huge amount, but there's and various secure messaging apps have turned out to be not quite as secure as they thought. I mean, things like, what's the one that sort of deletes the photo after the Snapchat? Yeah. I mean, yeah. Things have been found where maybe it does keep copies of the photos and stuff, but even so, you can take a screenshot of your phone. You can have a second phone that takes a photo while the image is on your phone. It's on the internet, so it's not there. But in terms of missing out on eavesdroppers, these two apps here, Text Secure and Red Phone, are made by a company called Open Whisper Systems, who are some fairly hardcore security geeks, who I have reasonable trust in that they're not going to. They're going to do it as well as they can. And again, nothing's utterly secure, but those are both pretty good.
It's a new Plus remake of Text Secure using the old protocol, which is just using SMS, because now it goes by data, so you don't actually know, the network doesn't know who you're texting.
Right.
But someone's remade the old version. There's a Plus project called SMS Secure.
SMS Secure. Okay.
Actually, when you use SMS, they know who you are talking to.
Yeah.
Company. When you use data.
Text Secure is now using data to avoid that, but the previous version used SMS, and someone's made a Plus version of that called SMS Secure. Because some people have got problems with the system a bit.
Yeah, Floss is free, basically free software for anyone who's unfamiliar with that term. So yeah, that's about it. So this is where this talk is today. It's basically this slide is generated from a text file. So if you go to that GitHub page, you'll find the notes on the talk, and you can get all your names off that. So I'll leave that up. So yeah, that's my run through. So it wasn't slightly over 20 minutes. We've still got over half an hour left. So I was thinking we might try and split up, and people who want to do some things to their phone and improve their security could link up with people who can help them do that. So Are there people who sort of have seen this and say, oh, I want to sort of set some of these things up? And yeah, so what things are you interested in?
Encryption and text security.
Okay, so is there anyone who would like to volunteer to help? What's your name?
James.
James. Would like to help James do that? No? You're enjoying it. I mean, depending how much, I was hoping I could like wander around, but there's not too many people I can come and sit with you and help you find those things. Anyone else who wants to sort of try some of these tools and would like some help?
If anyone knows the iPhone tools,
Does anyone know any iPhone tools?
Actually, TechSecure and Redphone, in the same people developed an app that is compatible with them, that is called Signal, and does both things, voice and text.
Signal.
Yeah.
Signal comms.
Signal. Yeah.
Okay.
And you can communicate with the people that use TechSecure.
You didn't talk about like actual phone calls and that. Because I can't do any of that myself.
Yeah, I mean that goes through the phone network. The phone network knows who you're talking about. Knows who you're talking to. There's like, yeah, there's not.
There's nothing you can do about that.
If you're going through the phone network, now, I mean, if you like the red phone, which will go through the data network, and that can control more of the protocol. So if you've got an Android phone or an iPhone, you can use that sort of thing to protect yourself. If you've got like your old sort of Nokia brick kind of phone, then yeah, there's not much you can do. Right. Alice?
I guess just to mention as well, like there's, if people don't know, like the EFF, which stands for the Electronic Freedom Foundation, something like that, Frontier, have got like a really, really good section. They've got a really good project called Surveillance Self-Defense. So if you go to ssd.eff.org, it's got really, really good, easy to follow guides on a lot of things and very kind of trustworthy tools. So it's got kind of like specific sections for kind of like civil human rights, whatever. So if you go to,
What's just the name?
so if you go to, well the URL is ssd.eff.org, but it's the Surveillance Self-Defense Project of the Electronic Freedom Frontier.
I love that URL to these slides. I love the URL to these slides after. Okay. Any other questions or people wanting sort of some help to sort things out on their phone?
Just a quick, have you done K9 Mail yet?
I haven't mentioned that one, no.
Okay, I'll just quickly mention that. So K9 Mail is a email client for Android, and you can do PGP email using that application. If you want to know how to use it, there's a floss manual for it, and it just focuses just on trying to, I think it's only like it's only a short one, so you could just quite quickly work through that. If anyone's up for it, they could try it out on their phone, and we can see if that manual's still up to date, and that'll be a good way of testing the up-to-dateness of that manual as well as getting encrypted email on your Android.
Thanks, Rick.
Okay.
Okay, so F-Droid is a alternative to the Android marketplace that only has free and open source software on it.
In a lot of the apps, they point out if there's security or privacy implications in big red letters.
Okay.
You use it on your phone. I've never used the Google, whatever it's called, Forget Apps.
It's the Play Store. Yeah.
I've used F-Droid straight away, so all my software's come from there. But yeah, and you get free versions of software you'd have to pay for otherwise on it as well for people to make available.
So
Good.
one potential problem with Freud, because TechSecure is not an Freud explicitly, because the author is like has pointed out several really bad security flaws in the Freud ecosystem, which basically allows anyone who exploits Freud itself, which apparently is not very hard, to basically have the lab your phone. So you specifically not from TechSecure and Freud, and also specifically ask
you want to know more about this, talk to these two gentlemen. And, we're probably getting into a lot of technical detail, but yeah, it's not a simple thing. Well, thanks for that. Anyone else with questions or wanting help?
Nearly.
Okay, well, I mean, yeah, you can grab me or other people who seem knowledgeable at any time today, and we'll happily help you. Okay, so that's me doing. I'll add a few of these things that got mentioned to the notes, and you can grab it from that URL. Thanks.
Will these URLs be put on the